Is it recording? Yeah, I think so.
Yes, it is.
What's that? Okay, so
is.
this is the 2014 Elkhart recap video. Elkhart County Fair recap video. The Ben and Eric Show live. Okay, so there's not very much more time left of the fair, but here are the notes that we had. As you can see, this box right here. If you want to pan over here and look at this box. We've had only one of these in the center of the table, and we're thinking that maybe we should actually possibly have two of them next year. One at that side of the table and one at this side. I don't know. That's something that we also talked about. Up here, you can see that we have some shirts hanging up here that we think that possibly we might.
If you have any questions, just let us know.
We don't think that we're going to sell shirts next year. It was flat out just flat out too confusing. The Enter the Win sign, this sign right down here, you can see this. We believe that right there grabbed a lot of people's attention and said, oh, you're giving something away. This also, I wanted to say, the Enter to Win box, this thing has been down about 150 people per day.
Yes.
Roughly, I would say that, because before we'd average about 300 people in this thing per day, and now we were averaging about like 100 to 150.
Well, we also limited one per couple.
But we did limit one per couple. So that Enter to Win sign, or the Enter the Win sign, did get attention.
Probably should put another one on that side.
We discussed, exactly. We discussed whether or not we should move, the gutter place. If you want to pan over there and look at that gutter place, they're possibly not going to be here next year, and we were talking about whether or not we should
take that one.
Should we take that spot? And my wife and I, we discussed it quite a bit, and we think that we're just going to stay right here since we've got so much more space. That's a 2-booth space. This is technically a 3-booth space. If you pan up here and look at this section right here, you see how that's black and white, and it's kind of got some roses at the very, very top. Next year, we're going to change that to red and white and not black. We're going to get rid of the black completely. So I'll have Judy, the housekeeper, sew something else up there with some other roses or something like that to make that, because there's like a little spindle up there that we screw into the wall. And
it's actually a DVD case.
Yeah, it's a DVD case. The other thing that we should do is get permission way in advance to have Mr. Romance to be able to walk around. We believe that actually would have helped get some more people interested in thing. They kind of told us at the last minute. Gail came up to us. We tried to get permission. We were unable to get permission, and and they just never called us back. But then, like an hour and a half, 2 hours into us walking around, they came up and said, "Hey, you can't do that. It's got to stay at your booth." So we need to be able to get somebody. We need to get that permission way in advance. We really want to stay inside. We don't want to go outside.
I put down transport storage of the oval sign. This big sign right here, we don't really have a good way to transport it, nor do we have a good place to store it. Because what will happen is
it's already starting to get nicked.
It's got nicks and dings, and we want this thing to last a long time. So we need to figure out a good way to store that.
Yep. We also have some signs now. These things right here. We've got like these, like the "We'll be right back" signs. They will have to figure out a place to actually store those with this sign, because that's a problem. One of the other big things, and we should have learned this by now, but people continuously ask to see pictures of the hotel. So we're trying, as we're going through the spiel, going through all of these different things here. They're one of the biggest things that they then ask for when we give them the pitch is, what do the rooms look like? Well, we have the videos. They're playing. We have, the pictures right here. We added pictures onto this Enter to Win. We have the banners that are hanging up here.
They still
but for some reason, they still ask for it. So something in our presentation is not right, and we're not sure what that is yet.
We could put several photos down here.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
that's a great idea. So if you want to look at this glass, how we have this glass tabletop right here, actually putting in pictures of the hotel right underneath this glass.
Yeah.
Nice idea.
Yeah. I do one thing right.
One thing. One of the other things that we need to do is on our language that we do this for, the following changes need to be made.
No refunds.
Where's your video? Right here. Okay. So the thing that needs to be done is this needs to be justified. Right now it's not justified. The other thing that we need to change on here is it needs to say no refunds.
Yep.
It needs to say that, not necessarily large like that, but it needs to be in here so then we can bullet point that out.
We did have a couple that came back.
Yeah, so one of the other things that we need to mention on this is the fact that we need to make sure that we stress out to people that they cannot book it on a holiday weekend. And
I didn't mention that when I was talking to you.
I just need to get in the spiel of, you know, like when I say there are 4 things that I need to tell you. Number 1 is it requires a 24-hour advance notice. Number 2, it expires on 7/15/2015. Number 3, I sent you a text. Message with the information. Yeah. And number 4, basically number 4, I tell people to hang it on their refrigerator when they get home, so that way they don't lose it. But I think that we also need to amend that we also say, number 5, that you cannot use this on a holiday weekend. So, and that's one of the things that I'm just thinking that we need to really do. And finally, we found out that we started out the week selling them at $79, and then we went to $69, and then so it's like we were doing the $79 was the deal, and if they kind of walked away from that, then we pull out the $69 plan. That worked, and we got several people to do that, but our sales was down, and we thought we got to do something to spice that up a little bit. So then we went with the $69 and then down into the $59. So that definitely did help, and I say we sold about 75% of them were for the $69. Maybe 10% of them were the $79, and maybe something like that. Another 5% was $59. Something close to that. And in recap, we had a people counter installed this year. I'm going to take the camera here just for a second, but we had a total of about 41,000
here in the next 6 minutes.
Close. 41,480 people that walked by our booth. The total counter hasn't been shut off yet. We got about another 5 more minutes left of the fair. But I'll show you the people counter and how we had that installed. Tony also actually kept track from Shades Express. He kept track on an hourly basis from Monday through Saturday on an hourly basis to see exactly how many people we had at what time. And that was very, very helpful. Before this, the fair board and no one knew exactly how many people actually walked in the fair booth. Our people counter seems to work pretty well and gives us a pretty good, accurate, I'd say it's plus or minus probably 10% of what it actually is. So thank you very much. I'm going to show you real quick the people counter and where we have that installed. Hi, Lyle. So we have our people counter. We have a reflective piece, a piece of paper right here. We actually put a sign that says, "Please do not stand here." You can see the reflector. The people counter is actually right here, and then we just wired it up with a. You can see the counter right here. So Tony just kept track of this on this form here, and we actually kept track of that. I'm actually going to record this here for a second. So you can kind of see how it is. This number would be what, 3178. You got a pen still?
Yes.
3178. So let me. I'll take another picture of that when you get that.
It's 3180 now.
3180. That's fine. That's close enough for what we want to see. So what's the total? Yeah, 3180. I'll take a picture of that too. And we just kept track of it by the day. So you can see this as well. It really seemed to help, and I think that this is going to help gauge what we did. We're shutting down the booth now. You can see that.
Don't forget the back. We set up the back, but we need to keep it that way this year.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. We also did remove this little beam between our booths, and that seemed to give Tony some space and make things. Any other comments, Tony, you want to make about your booth?
These fans suck.
I really appreciate Brook Point allowing me to take that down. It made a lot more room for us, so it's fantastic.
Awesome.
Professionally, these fans are bad. They don't produce any air whatsoever.
Okay. No fans. So we should probably invest in some portable ones, like those really high speed ones. So this is behind our booth here. We have our refrigerator set up. We have all the bins.
Refrigerator on this
Mr.
thing,
Romance, we need to have we have that propped up on a fan, and it still gets wrinkled in the center. So
good way to hang it.
Yeah. So I think that seemed to go pretty well. We didn't really organize stuff out here very well, and that kind of seemed like we were constantly kicking over stuff.
We ran out of paper one day, so
we did
print a bunch, and yeah, it problem.
Yeah, it did. for sure. We ended up doing pretty well. We'll have some other recaps on how many we sold and things like that. But you can see that it was pretty successful. We did about half the sales that we wanted to do.
But we also didn't have good figures on how many people actually came to the fair.
No, because close to only 10% of the people that show up for the fair actually came into this, which we think that's pretty low. So that is the update and the recap video for the Elkhart Fair. I'll quickly kind of just give you a little quick look at what we have, who's around us. Daniel is a sales guy and he works at the Rain Guard place, and then we've got Daryl who does the financial stuff. Today we have Trenton and Carl, Eric, me, and Corey, who's out in the vehicle bringing stuff in.
Really well too.
Yes, the name badges worked out very well. We need to actually have those again as well. So that is the recap.